Okay, can everyone see my slides?
Yes.
Amazing. So welcome everyone for this first information session of the semester. I'm pretty happy that the association now, as well as all EPFL, is now back on campus. I'm not currently, but I will be shortly. So the goal of this session, I will introduce the goals very shortly, but broadly it's to give you information about what we've been doing in the past, what are our goals, what are our objectives, what are we aiming towards, what are the next events coming through, and what we envision for the near future of the association. And also in the second part, we will tackle more about specific administrative stuff regarding the potential newcomers to our association. So this will be given in a nutshell. So first, let me give a quick presentation about me. You know, it's always a good occasion because I don't know how many of you guys I will get to meet in real life. So I'm Arthur. I'm 24 years old. I'm finishing right now my master at EPFL in physics. And I focus strongly on quantum computing applications, more specifically on quantum algorithms. And so my background started in quantum sensing, essentially. So I did an internship at ID Quantique, which is a quantum company based in Geneva, so very near to Lausanne. And actually, if you're interested, they do very, very interesting stuff. They do quantum key distribution for cryptography solutions. They do quantum sensing for fault zone detection, and they also do random number generation using quantum resources. So pretty interesting stuff. And well, I did this internship as an experimentalist, essentially. So my job was to test single photon detectors for a while. And then I decided that experimental was not for me. So I decided to switch back to more theoretical grounds. And so this is where I began my master at EPFL. So I also did my bachelor at EPFL, I should have mentioned that. But so my master I started at EPFL in the laboratory of Professor Savona, who is a theoretician. His background is in quantum system, quantum information theory, and most recently he tackled also quantum algorithms. So now he welcomes a few students every year to do their laboratories in quantum algorithms. So I was lucky enough to participate to this, and so I worked on those algorithms for a while, and now for my second year of master, actually, I've been spending my full year in a company, in a startup named Quantum Machines, which is based in Israel. So I'm right now I'm based in Tel Aviv, and so I've been working in this startup, and I'd be happy to tell you more about what they do because I think it's pretty exciting. Yeah, and so to tell you a bit, like I'm about to graduate. So as I was mentioning to Baptiste, I'm in the last run for submitting my thesis. So I will be finishing my master project next week, essentially, and I'll be coming back to Europe. So ending my 6 months project in Israel. I've been working for a year, but only 6 months in Israel. And essentially, I will be holding my thesis in November and then graduating. And my next step is to go to start a PhD in quantum algorithms again. So I will keep the same trajectory in Singapore. At the Center for Quantum Technologies. And regarding my engagement to the association, I've been president for more than a year now, but essentially I became president during the COVID crisis. So I never got to the part where you actually get to meet people in real life from day to day. But you know, how ambitious can we be these days with all what's happened? I'm pretty happy that now you guys can be on campus and we get to make the association live on campus again. So to tell you a bit more about, I thought it would be an interesting idea to mention first, like, what is the relationship one can hold towards this kind of association? So you might wonder, like, why is there a student association for quantum computing? And so I thought, like, giving this perspective of what it brought to me and also what I brought to the association could help more perspective about what it allows you to do. So first of all, you should know that a quantum computing student association in Europe is very rare. To my knowledge, there isn't any in Europe so far. There are a lot of those in American universities and Canadian universities, but it's very specific in Europe. So we are kind of the only, to my knowledge, as a student association that dedicates itself to the promotion of quantum computing and quantum technologies. And this gives very interesting insights because you get to meet amazing people in the field in a whole new context, which is not only research anymore or only like academic anymore, but you also get to meet people that are on more familiar grounds, and you get to do like more informal stuff and really create some kind of sense of community there, which is pretty unique when you are a student. So this is very interesting. And also you get, of course, you get the ability to develop a network of your own. not only composed of students, but also professors that are involved with us as partners. Now we have this Quantum Center initiative that got launched at EPFL, and many other things that are coming up from different universities. As we'll see, I will mention the hackathon in a minute, but we'll get involved with ETH Zurich more and more, with the University of Geneva as well. So we really are positioning ourselves as a pretty unique infrastructure for this quantum world. So it is pretty appreciable. And to tell you about personally what I learned from it, extensive, lots of things in terms of, wills of commitment as well, like how to work as a team. This also is very important when you work in a company on a research, how to learn to work within a team. So this is very important, and the association is a really great training ground to do that. And of course, like you get to, grasp lots of opportunities. For me, it's been hackathons, participating to KidsCamp Asia. So when I learned that through I contacted the associations, Samuel, who was the former president of the association, he managed to get me a seat at this fantastic hackathon. So 2 weeks before going to Japan, I learned I was going to go to Japan, and was like, wow, that's amazing. And you get to meet over there 200 people from very different backgrounds that do quantum computing, and it's pretty exciting. Also, there's been lots of activities in quantum happening here in Switzerland. If you're not all available to go during the semester in the far rest of the world, there are also lots of things happening in Switzerland. Recently, we had the Quantum Industry Day, which is also a pretty nice opportunity to network and meet the people involved in quantum in Switzerland and elsewhere, and Europe as well. Regarding to what has been done towards the association, so I really started from the ground. When I arrived, like I got lucky because I was really beginning my master at EPFL when the association started. So I got involved in the very beginning, so building everything from the ground up. Starting as a communication manager, I had no prior knowledge in quantum computing, so to speak. I had experiments in quantum sensing and experimental stuff, but nothing on quantum computing itself. And so my job was to prepare the emails, to get the communications running with all the external parties at EPFL, to advertise about events. Then I quickly switched to event manager. So I was responsible myself to logistics, organizing for speakers. And that's amazing because you get to meet like amazing speakers. I basically welcomed the guy from Google that came like 2 years ago, and really bonded with him. It was a pretty unique occasion to, build network from something, that you could not have anticipated as a student, because you're never told that you can get to this world very quickly. So it's, the association for me was kind of a big jump towards this world, which is pretty small. And I will get to also to that in a minute. And yeah, and then from there, I learned more and more about quantum computing during my master, but also within the association through workshops, research club initiatives. And I basically try to bring more and more solutions for people to get involved in quantum computing at their own pace, at their own level. And I have plenty of examples, and Baptiste, who is here, Aman, Efe, are all examples of people who started from the ground and now are like acing quantum computing. Like those guys are really brilliant. I could tell about them like for an hour at least, but this is not the scope of it. But it's really just to tell you that not knowing anything in quantum computing does not prevent you in any case to do amazing stuff in this field, because there's lots to be done. So, okay, so I briefly mentioned that I will quickly review them here. The objective of this session is to present the association, its goals, and past and current activities. So, of course, our activities were kind of separated in two, right? We have the prior to COVID version and the ongoing COVID version, and now we have to readapt ourselves. And so this will be also a challenge for us, because it's been more than a year and a half that we did not get on campus to do some kind of activities. So it's going to be a challenge for us to get back to logistics. And when I speak about logistics, also I speak about COVID logistics, because we still have to deal with all the constraints that are happening. And right now we are burning through hell with the organization of the hackathon right now. So it's it's not a walk in the park, but we are really wanting to bring this quantum revolution at EPFL, and EPFL also understood this. So we have more and more grounds and relationships with the Quantum Center initiative, all the professors that are involved in this tech, and basically all the sections and departments that want to get involved more and more to propose courses. And as maybe if you have not heard, we will have a dedicated master in quantum engineering next year at EPFL, which is pretty amazing, and which will mingle basically concepts of computer science, engineering, and physics. So this is going to be a really great opportunities for the bachelor students that are here. If you're interested to dive deeply in this session, I cannot I cannot emphasize the fact that EPFL is really becoming a major place in this area. And finally, yeah, the last part of the, so the second part will be to mention about the commitment expectations. So for people that are willing to join us, we really want to provide them all the tools that we can offer as a community to make sure that they can step in quantum career, so that they can reach out, whether it's in industry, academia. We get them like all the support they need and all the visibility they need as well for leveraging all those aspects. And also, of course, we are also being used as educators, right? We have this kind of feedback where the most experienced people, I see we have Fabio here, who is a PhD student. And so we also try to build this kind of mentorship program towards within the association. So we really benefit from a nice cycle, but we expect from that everyone puts himself into the shoes of the other one and say, okay, like for this to happen, we need to work, we need to like put some logistics on, we need to involve ourselves and commit time. And so this is what we expect from every member that joins our associations. And so, of course, there's no better commitment than when you do something that can also benefit not only yourself, but the others. And so this is why we want to like address an open call for projects that you would like to see on your campus around these topics. No matter if you're a beginner or an experienced guy, we can sort all kinds of projects that are doable as long as we have people motivated to do them. Next slide, yeah. So, okay, so at this point you might ask, okay, well, what is this Quantum Computing Association in a nutshell? So as I mentioned, it's like an independent student association. I really emphasize the fact that we are independent in the sense that it's formed by students, for students, and is being recognized by EPFL. It's really an initiative that came from the ground, and this gives a nice visibility for students because they are being acknowledged to do something kind of unique. As I mentioned before, we are pretty unique in Europe right now, and we have actually lots of members from other countries that want to come to EPFL because we have this kind of ecosystem, which is pretty amazing to see, because in a matter of 2 years, we really managed to leverage our importance and make the people above also understand what could be the advantage of students to get involved in quantum research at a very early perspective. And so this is now where we get like the master in engineering that is coming next year, but we will also have more and more initiatives across sections for bachelor studies as well. And so the goal, I think it's pretty clear, right? Create a quantum array community, placing EPFL engineers and researchers at the forefront of an upcoming computer science revolution. And yes, it's becoming more and more real every day. It's pretty amazing to see all the trajectories that the field is loading, but perhaps you do not know much about this field. So I will quickly stop myself to in a minute to tell you more about what quantum computing is about. So the applications that you can imagine for quantum computing. So first of all, it's really a change of paradigm in computer science. So we have to understand that we are really building the blocks. And what I mean by blocks is like really building every layer from scratch, as we were in the 50s when we were developing the classical computers. We're really at this stage where now more and more progress is being done on the hardware. So we're really reimagining the kind of hardware that can be used to do quantum computing. So we have lots of platforms to be developed. So it's lots of engineering challenges. So Fabio could tell you more about this if you're interested. He's working extensively on a qubit platform, which is pretty promising. So yeah, so feel free to reach him out. Fabio, if you can perhaps provide your email address. So if people have questions in the chat, it'd be a major deal. I think we're really keen also to put an emphasis, because there's lots of excellent quantum research being done at the quantum hardware level. You know, usually when we speak about quantum computing, we really usually think about the software perspectives, the programs, the algorithms that can like solve intractable problems in a nutshell. But really, quantum hardware also is a very, very interesting challenge, and I'm sure Fabio would be pleased to tell you more about this. We can even talk about this at the end of this presentation, basically. But to tell you more about the quantum applications, so I don't know what your background is, but no matter, I'm sure like quantum computing might at some point fit in what you're looking for, whether it goes from quantum chemistry and simulation, which is the basic idea behind quantum computing is to simulate a quantum system with another quantum system. But we also leverage like lots of stuff with quantum information by using cryptography protocols that I mentioned before with ID Quantique, but also optimization problems. And there we have lots of research going on. And actually the hackathon is going to turn around optimization as well, but for a specific chemistry problem. So we the quantum computing area carry great hope. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, it carries great probes in many scientific fields, but the problem is that we don't have any kind of assessment right now of what can be done because we don't have the hardware. So regarding your background, you might find yourself in a very well-suited position to develop the field in a significant way and very fast. So now, okay, so this seems pretty nice, but what us like students, which are bachelor level or master level, which do not have like so much expertise, can do in this revolution, right? Like, does it make sense? Because it seems to be like very very involved research topics with being very complex. You talk about quantum physics here, so how come like there is a student association doing that? Well, as I mentioned before, the research in EPFL is really thriving, and we have more and more professors that are coming along to give courses to students so they can be prepared at a much earlier stage towards this next revolution. But we also discovered, like at least 2 years ago, the assumption was that people that were working at a very basic level in quantum computing were not knowing each other, in the sense that people that were doing some stuff in computer science would not know about the guys who were working in physics on similar topics. Actually, the very beginning of the association was like a conference where 2 PhD students met. They were working on different research topics regarding quantum computing, but they didn't even know that actually their research intersected a lot. And so they can, okay, it doesn't make sense that we are working separately, whereas we could have a common platform. And then the idea is that we wanted to involve students from lower levels in this perspective. And we basically now try to put ourselves as a representation of students that want to, dive either in research, but also industry, because industry in this field is like getting pretty huge. As you may know, like the big actors in this field are the GAFA, of course, Google, Amazon, IBM, Microsoft. Those guys are all involved in the quantum computing revolution, but we have also lots of startups emerging in Switzerland and elsewhere. And as I was mentioning before, I was working for a year now in a quantum startup based in Israel. So the ecosystem is really thriving, and there's lots of opportunities going on that is reachable actually for students at a very basic level. And so we want to break this this vision of, I'm not experienced enough and I cannot learn and do anything because I would have to focus too much time. Actually, attending to one session per week is like more than enough to get you started. I could think of a ton of examples of students that made it through and did excellent things on the quantum programming, for example, learning this stuff in a very short amount of time. So Aman, for example, joined us in the association. He learned so much in a while that he was able to basically ace the IBM Quantum Challenge that was released, I think, 2 years ago. So yeah, as an anecdote, it's always pretty cool to see that within our association we have so great example of people who made it through. So yeah, so this is the reason that we have a student association. We want to leverage the power that we have at the student area to really try to fix from now on a quantum career and also to, for all the people that are interested to understand why quantum is going to be relevant in their own sector. It's not about also fixing a career in quantum, but understand like how quantum revolution can impact all of your research areas or your working areas. So we really try to bring this advocating, and there's a lot of positions actually, and I will talk to that at the end of the talk, but lots of positions can be covered in the association without having any background or experience in quantum. So briefly, what we have done in the past and what I think we will continue to do in the future, and we also are more keen to develop more initiatives to get more motivated students to propose novel ideas. But the idea was essentially, as I said, we got to the objective to advocate and educate around quantum computing applications. So we provided workshops, a series of talks as well from very well-known industries or researchers from many academic sections. We had a few years ago someone from MIT, so very well-known, Aram Arrow, who developed an algorithm, a very famous quantum algorithm. We had someone from Google, from Microsoft, from Atos. So, and we're really keen to bring more people into the game. We are very close. We have many people that are close enough in our association to IBM Zurich. So of course we can get many connections with IBM Zurich. So it's getting more and more. This network is growing bigger, and they really appreciate the students are taking upon themselves to like do this job on top of the community that those companies are building. IBM is like thriving to build a quantum community, and we like to think that we are bridging this support here at EPFL. Also, another prospect is semester projects. So it's not only about talks, it's also about getting into like learning some content and original content. And so we've been like proposing original ideas which can both be instructive for the students, but also can be displayed to get them visibility, to show that they showed initiative to construct something from their own, and which really belongs to them and which has not been done before. And so we started a bunch of projects. That the Entanglement project, for example, was a coding project, which really was inspired from the IBM board game, which is called which basically carries the same name, and also a quantum public goods project, which I would be delighted to talk to you about if you have questions about it later on. I think it was a great initiative, but we still have lots of work to do. We started this during COVID, and we definitely want to keep up the research that we started in this area. Some key numbers of today. So I looked at all the pages today on our associations to see, okay, what were the basic numbers. So we have more than 500 subscribers on our mailing list. We have 150 students on our Slack channels, and also professors as well. I should mention that we have not only students, but also professors, PhDs, postdocs, and many more representatives in our Slack channel. And committee members are coming from very, very different departments. So we have life science, we have microengineering, we have, of course, physicists and computer scientists, electrical engineers. What am I missing here? Yeah, apologies for those I have forgot, but you see the point. Like the quantum computing is a very, very multidisciplinary field, and we realized that the students as well understood this very quickly by joining our ranks. So all the objectives span in like 4 kind of targets that we set in our statutes. It's really about education, visibility, and sustainability. What I mean by sustainability, which is the one that I haven't talked yet about, is the fact that we are only living because students are willing to take upon themselves to do this work. We are benevolence, we are not remunerated, we are not paid by in any way. So it's only the work that we are willing to provide benevolently that allows us to like keep the effort going in the association. And my goal in the beginning was to show you that when you commit, you actually retrieve a lot from the association. And so this can be a very nice area for you to say, well, you know, usually in my semester, I have lots of stuff to do, and that's for sure. EPFL studies are super hard, like in any section. And so it's, of course, very difficult to find time for this stuff. But depending on what you want to learn and what you want to acquire from the association, we can specify the levels of commitment that you would need to actually achieve your goals, and at the same time give back to the association as a community to make sure that we can go further in our perspectives and projects. And finally, expansion. So again, it's the same idea of building partnerships with external parties, whether it's research industry or a quantum standard initiative. Many things that are going on, which just also relate to the need that we reach more visibility. And EPFL understands as well that since the demand is increasing among students to learn about quantum computing and quantum technologies, we have more offers of courses. EPFL becomes more and more a narrow place to do quantum stuff, so which is pretty amazing. So what's to come in the following weeks? So as I mentioned, we have this Quantum Global Public Goods Research Project that has been kind of on hold because like we've been now focusing greatly on the hackathon that you might have heard about. If you do not, so let me very briefly summarize it. We're organizing this year, so next month actually, in the end of November, Quantum Hackathon, which is going to be specifically designed for EPFL students. We know that EPFL students are usually beginners or have like little to middle experience in quantum programming, and so we wanted to like design a specific hackathon made for them so that everyone could learn from it. And so Baptiste here and Oriel, who is not here, I think, are the guys who build a series of problems that I think is amazing. It's going to be great content for you guys to learn, and overall we're also like building a logistics here with Aman, with Efe, and many others to basically provide the nicest condition to learn and for the community to meet in a real-time event that we've been like waiting for a long time. and also a series of talks. So here and there, we also have to get more involved in what we want to do, what kind of perspectives and topics we want to achieve. But what I can tell you is already that, as I mentioned in the beginning, I will be presenting my thesis, and since it's going to be public, for sure, guys, I will do a talk. Maybe it will be the thesis itself or another representation of the thesis to the association and to those who are interested, because I think like what I've been doing this year in this company is like super cool, and I can't wait to tell you more about it, because it's like really really diving into like, okay, what a student can do in 1 year. It's super cool. So now speaking more technically, so perhaps before diving into this part, maybe is there any questions about the objectives that we had so far, what I presented, anything before I dive into the stuff? So because I know that in the assembly, there might be people interested to join the association, but just to know more about our events. So please feel free to ask any question now, if there's any.
May I ask something, Arthur?
Yeah, for sure.
So at the very beginning of this talk, you mentioned this new quantum center that EPFL has opened this year. So can you maybe comment something more about this, and also what is the connection between this association with that center?
Absolutely. So great question. There's been an unofficial will from the professors to start such initiative that would gather professors from the physics department, from the electrical engineering and computer science that have been doing research in quantum for a long time, but which never got like common budget to put this. And now EPFL has agreed to start this initiative. So this is this center was kicked off like I think in September. And so the president of this Quantum Center initiative is no one else than Professor Vincenzo Savona, who is also our academic reference in our association. And the goal that they achieve is actually pretty close to ours. So they are, if you will, like the component that will increase our visibility towards the presidency of the EPFL, like the board of EPFL, that we want to leverage. The goal is to leverage essentially more education and providing more research tools on campus and more collaborations. And regarding the current leagues that we want to build, so it's a pretty good question, because we are actually working on this right now. I think that since the goals are so much intertwined, we don't have any interest in like doing exactly the same stuff as they do, but to be kind of complementary and serve as a representation of the students, where like the Quantum Center would be much more representative of the researchers that are going there and that can formalize in a much more broader way. So they have budgets that we do not. So usually they will be inclined to support us financially for events that are involving talks and education stuff for the students. And finally, as I mentioned, there will be a Quantum Master program that will be open for students. So this is going to be next year. And our idea is to serve as an added package that comes when you go study your EPFL in quantum technology. You have this added visibility through the student association. We provide you as an informal community with the informal events that can get you closer to all the researchers in this area, and really leverage like quantum community as a whole, and not like some researchers like spinning around and doing separate research. Like we really want to convey that and sending a strong message that students can actually, the student board can actually really be connected to the research and the professors as well. And so this is how we'll try to be kind of complementary here to the Quantum Center initiative that is being launched. Great question. Thank you. Other question? Okay, so if it does come later on, feel free to interrupt me. Okay, so now speaking about the association more specifically, about how we organize ourselves. I see just some things in the chat. Okay, could be a student for different events. Yes, thank you for the answer. So yeah, exactly. So the idea is that we provide a set of talks and events which are of different levels, and usually, of course, the beginners will not be able to understand all the talks that we're providing, but we're making sure that we're spanning an offer that where everyone can find its count, essentially. So to give you an example, as was stated by the answer, like the upcoming hackathon requires no knowledge at all. We will provide the talks and then the basic tools that allow you to get started in quantum programming. And but if you're willing to get more involved stuff, like of course you will need maybe to get more resources on yourself, but also take part on more deeper research projects of the association, where we all usually learn together by weekly or bi-weekly sessions typically. So we had this research club initiative where everyone was like missioned to understand a paper and present it to the others, so that we can all get a glance of what a quantum algorithm is and how it is used today. And then we also had these coding projects, and Quantum Global Public Goods is a typical example of original idea or original proposal that combines research elements and also some learning stuff accessible to everyone. So it was really a mix of game theory and quantum information theory and also quantum programming. So we embed this into a really nice scope and project, and I hope that this project will keep going on, because I think it's very interesting. But we shall see, depending on the motivation of the students, of course, what might come out of it. Regarding like how we cover the goals I presented before, so visibility, education, sustainability, and expansion, we established so far 3 main teams, which are responsible for the different axes. So expansion, of course, and visibility is ensured by the communication team, which is doing an amazing job. And I thank Daniele, who is here, who's doing a very, very great job at ensuring this this stuff. So communication, if you will, is really about leading everything regarding to external parties. So right now, of course, we've been focusing in writing emails and blog posts on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, so that people can see what's going on. But it's also about, maintaining the interest of people. So when someone learns from a new topic during his own learning of quantum computing, he can share resources online. He can incite like new ways of thinking, and also the communication is also about letting people know from the outside world, the industries, the researchers, that there is something going on very interesting at EPFL. And so all of this is embedded in this kind of communication tool. And we have many ideas that we'd like to leverage. And so we need people that are willing to, get out there and put up all they know about like the social media environment, so that we can really increase the possibilities of, welcoming new people and also welcoming new resources as well. And I should say, so Daniele can serve as a witness here, but no prior knowledge at all is required in quantum computing itself, right? Like it's really like the core skills is like knowing how to use Facebook or LinkedIn, which I think is like for an EPFL engineers, it's for sure no problem at all. But of course, I think it's a great ground for beginners, because it allows you like to get started, to meet some people, to interact with people from the field. So far, it's been mostly internal, but we intend the communication team to be much more endeavored with external partners. And so the idea here is to build connections and understand what they are doing and getting an insight of what is the quantum world about, what are the different perspectives, what are the different research areas, and what is to be done, so that you can efficiently learn a path and find some things that are interesting on a practical level. The project team. So the projects team is about figuring out everything that can serve education, education at all levels. So usually it will be internal research projects, as the public goods project I mentioned before, but it could be something else entirely. The research club initiative, for example, was also something led by the project team, and we are really keen to develop new ideas that can leverage curiosity in all the students that attend to this session, which we try to be as regular as possible. And I expect that since we're back in campus, we'll be more regular than ever. But it's really about like keeping some regular meetings, informal meetings, usually nothing official, but meetings within the association, to share about the latest news of quantum computing, whether it's business oriented, whether it's research oriented. We try to also go both, because we understand that people might be interesting to understand quantum technology, not as a research perspective, but also as a business opportunity. So we try to leverage both of these aspects in those projects. And finally, the events team is all the people that are going to take care of setting up the talks, the conferences, and increase our visibility on campus by practical logistics. And again, I should mention that this events team does not require any knowledge at all. You just have to leverage all the logistics aspect to be kind of creative. For example, the hackathon requires lots of creativity, especially because of COVID. So we have to know what we want to achieve. And so once we set the sides of objectives, we can divide the tasks in some kind of logistics and content, which can be addressed for more experienced people. So everyone can find its ground. And of course, the projects will usually be more addressed by people who have experience in the field and they want to leverage their own knowledge, their own learning towards the community, so that can also benefit from this. So it's usually a very nice mechanism. And the margin of progression is very quick. To tell you, I mentioned in the beginning, I started in the communication team myself. I did, I think, 3 months in the communication team before switching to the events team. And I did 6 months in the events team, or maybe 8, was it 8? Yes, I think it was 8 months, and then I became president. So to tell you, like, the turnover is very quick because the life expectancy of students is really short, right? Like when you start a master is 2 years, when you start a bachelor is 3 years. So you are not around for very long. So we really try to leverage this association as an additional tool. And I want you to understand that this is a unique stuff which does not exist, which requires work, but which can bring you so much more in the work market, in the job market as well, right? Like mentioning that you've been part of an association that's been doing original stuff is much more valuable than being in a top-notch university in the best programs, but where we have thousands of people doing things like you, and it can be somehow difficult to leverage your originality. So what I like at EPFL is that when we started, at least now it's getting even more advocated, so more people will go in. But the quantum world is so small at the moment that you can still make your way out of it and getting noticed with things that by just thinking out of the box and not really reinventing the wheel or starting something very deep, but something which is different. And for me, the association is really an amazing opportunity for this. Yes, so here is a bunch of initiatives that I laid out, which we started to pursue and which are kind of on hold at the moment for both technical reasons, which were COVID related in the past, or we lacked people to take care of those initiatives. So here are a bunch of things that you could imagine doing while you work for the association. And of course, I'll let you imagine what you can gain from all of these perspectives regarding your objectives. And so I will come to that in a second. But yeah, we had this Know Your Neighbor projects. As I mentioned, EPFL research is outstanding in quantum technologies. If you look at labs, we want to organize more lab visits. In the physics department, we have amazing quantum labs. I'm thinking about Professor Jean-Philippe Brantu, for example, Professor Tobias Kippenberg, and also, of course, the labs in electrical engineering and microengineering as well are really doing some very amazing stuff. So we'd like to propose more of this applied discovery of what's happening at quantum on the quantum level, well, on the quantum ecosystem at EPFL. Seminar series from all perspectives, right? As I said, it's a multidisciplinary field, so you can go from physics, math, engineering, life science. There are many opportunities where quantum can actually leverage some new insights, and it's always interesting to know what could be brought on this. And quantum computing cooperation, so it's a project that we started 2 years ago, but which now is on hold because the key holders of this project are actually now have left the PFL and are based respectively doing the studies at MIT and Harvard, if I'm not mistaken. So they're doing outstanding jobs over there. They are brilliant researchers right now, but they started basically to create collaborations between quantum computing associations and researchers over there in the US. And we have a dedicated GitHub with open source content for that, specifying about this this perspective. But we need people from EPFL that want to leverage their knowledge and want to put the learning process in an open source content, so that people that are learning the year after them and which are also beginners can go through the same path. And it's actually much more easier when you share your experience. Everyone shares its inputs. You can see tons of papers, and each insight is different. The way of understanding is different. So we all gain about understanding new perspectives on the field and on what you want to learn. All right, so I'm nearly done. I've been talking for quite a while, but I hope I convinced you that getting in quantum computing today is a really, really outstanding opportunity for all engineers and researchers. There is unprecedented cooperation between industry and academia. There is investments, a lot of investments. The ecosystem is like going from startups to big companies, to even NGOs. There are a few NGOs that try to do quantum stuff in the US and Canada. So, you know, regardless of what you envision yourself, there could always be a place for you in the quantum world. Of course, it's a multidisciplinary field, so you could get involved in many different layers of the quantum computing stack. You could be software engineer, you could be hardware engineer, you could be working at a compilation level, which is not always very advertised, but which is essential, which is how do you decompose a high-level application into a set of native gates and then a sequence of pulses that are actually running on the hardware. This is very important and usually not so well advertised, but we actually have at EPFL, one of the most brilliant guys in this field of quantum compilation. His name is Bruno. I don't know if he's here today, but Bruno is finishing his PhD at EPFL right now, and he's also involved with IBM and Microsoft on quantum compilation. So it's pretty amazing field. And yeah, so all the perspectives are yours as long as you're willing to get into it and you understand the potential for you as an individual of how you would like to leverage this new area of opportunities in your own career. And finally, why you should join the QCA on top of getting QC, the student infrastructure that gives you the tool to further into your quantum education at EPFL and elsewhere. As I mentioned, like you could get to travel around. I went to Japan, and I cannot tell you. Also, if I could, I would also have gone to Canada. I participated to another hackathon, which was organized at Creative Destruction Lab. It was an amazing boot camp for a month in July. It is an amazing initiative when you meet so much different people from different backgrounds, and it's like business oriented. So you get to know all the sets of skills which are usually not required for a researcher, so to speak. So it's really to understand like the variety of things that you could cover while being in the association, and thanks to the association. No background required. So I think I emphasize this more than enough. The interaction in the informal context, in a framework that you build. You are the builders of this framework. You are the only thing that makes this happening. And people usually appreciate it a lot, even though we are all bound to make mistakes and we are all beginners in this field. We all learn from our mistakes, whether it's logistic-wise or whether it's research-wise. I mean, for the hackathon, I cannot guarantee for sure that this will be like 100% without glitches, you know. But you know, we'll learn from those glitches, and it will be super interesting for us. It's the first time that we conduct such an ambitious event, and it's really exciting that we had come so far. And I'm really eager to get this, to see this next month, how it's going to pan out. And yeah, again, the ability to be from the ground is to bring the changes that you want to see on campus. If you are a quantum enthusiast, you want to see different stuff, let us know. We're always hearing out about the needs to have more talks, more seminars. Please bring in ideas. We're always open, whether you are a board member or not. We like to have an interaction with our student community, so it's really important for us. Then, yeah. So, how to join the association? So, okay. So at this point, maybe let me stop right now. So just to pause a bit, because I think I talked for a really long time, and I would like to breathe out a bit and let you know. Think about, okay. I figure we already have some people that might be interested to get into the association, to really get involved and commit to the activities that we do. And perhaps some people that are at this point would say, well, it's really great stuff. I will definitely be looking out for events, but I do not have time to commit or something like this. So maybe if you have any questions before I go to the second part, which is really now going to be more about people that want to get involved, how they should get involved, and what we expect from you. wow, either I lost you all or I was super clear. I don't know what's what's the nicest point.
Hop, putain.
So, okay.
No, it was super clear. Don't worry.
Okay, cool. Super glad to hear that. Okay, so if there's no question, I guess I should just get started. So yeah, it's been, so what time is it? Yeah, okay, so I still have 10 minutes. I don't want to keep you all night. It's just like, I'm nearly done. There are 2 slides remaining, and then we can open the floor to discussions. So it's pretty cool because we're at 22, which I think is nice because we will get among those who are interested to get into the association to get a small introduction tour. And perhaps, yeah, to try to discuss already some projects or, but I was, yeah, let me come back to that in a second, because what I'll be specifying here for the people that are still, sorry, yeah. Ah, okay. I thought it was someone was talking. Okay. So here, what I'm about to mention, and for the rest of the thing, I assume that all the guys that are remaining here do show a will to join the association as a board member. So this will be the assumption from now on. So I will reshare the screen and tell you about what we expect from you and why, how you could commit to the association on different levels. So in the past, can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So in the past, admission to the committee was automatic in the sense that we said, okay, we need people, and the more we have, the easier we will get to, organize our events and plan our projects. But then the problem that we realized very quickly is that, of course, the work that a student provides to the association is, of course, on top of his academic requirements, right? Like he has to work on top of the courses. It may require some time depending on where you are at the stack. And of course, the level of commitment is proportional to what you want to get from the association as well, right? So we understand this, and we understood that some people joined the association and could not commit at the level of expectation that we anticipated because they were just not able to cover those. And so we were left out with positions that were actually filled, but without having the job done. So, and this led to some kind of inertia where no one was kind of really involved in the team because there was a feeling that, okay, we rely on someone else to do the job, which is more experienced than me. So we don't want that anymore because as I emphasized through this talk, it's not about experience, it's about commitment and willingness. So we want to change the approach that we will follow. We will try to be more selective in the sense that we really want to get the best for our students that are committing. Like we want to let people know that are committing to the association, that we will give it back to 1,000. And for that, we need to have individual consideration to everyone's ambition, not to take everyone, because we cannot, like, we do not have the resources to, let everyone follow exactly his dreams at his level of commitment. We need some structure. We need some development. We are in dire need of development for the association to thrive. And this development comes by motivated people that are fixed and know their objectives and that we understand their motivations. So, so it's basically a summary of what's written in the slides. So what will be happening in the next few weeks? So we will hold our General Assembly in November. I cannot remember the date, but I will, in any case, send the date again. We will send another email. Please make sure to subscribe to the newsletter. Is there someone that is here which has not subscribed to the newsletter of the association? Okay, so I assume everyone did. So pretty cool, because this will be the way we will advertise about the date of the GA. But before this GA, so what we will do is, for everyone here, which I assume is interested to join the association, we will hold an individual session to, get to know you. First of all, what are you doing at EPFL? What is your background? Why do you want to join the association? What do you want to do in the association? What do you want to retrieve from the association? What is your perspectives? What do you see yourself evolving? Because we want to see how much time you could spend in the association as well, because we rely on people getting more experience to take the higher board. As I mentioned, I became president in like 1 year, which is really not a lot. So of course we want to make sure that we have some people to take over once all the guys like me, now I'm old, at least for the master perspective from EPFL. So we want like to ensure this kind of sustainable development within our association. So we have people that take over the guys who are leaving. So everything needs specific considerations. So we will expect from every one of you to reach out to quantum@epfl.ch and specify in your email so what I just mentioned, so your objectives, why you want to join the association, what you would see yourself doing, projects team, events team, communication team, and if you do not find something in those teams that do match what you want to do, please, if you have any other ideas or as well that can help us like go through like the objective that we specified in the beginning, I would be more than happy to hear suggestions. And actually we can define new roles, and we are in dire need to define that. And I should mention that roles will be specified for individuals. What I mean by that is that if you are committing to the association, you will be noted, registered to enter the association the next semester, and your admission will be conditioned under the fulfillment of the objectives that we will have fixed together on an individual basis. So it does not mean that we will have to work alone, obviously not, right? We will work as teams, but to make sure that we understand that you are really wanting to contribute to the association and to get the visibility from it, we really want to make sure that you are taking the task upon yourself and not relying on someone else to do it. You will leverage just someone else to help you do it. And that's how the circle will work. So yeah, so as soon as this meeting is over, you can basically like write this email today, tomorrow, or whatever. And the current committee members, so I think in the beginning it will be Aman, Efe, and I, and myself, who will be conducting these interviews. But I figure if we have like the 20 of you, well, less than 20, but the 15 of you like applying, we will be, of course, giving away to other members of the association right now. So, okay, so I went, sorry, I went ahead of a slide. I forgot that I had this one. So commitment is a two-way street. So you give the association some time, the association gives you what you expect in return. And for that, we need to understand what is your motivation. So we make sure that we are able to give you what you expect. And this is given on your time taken on top of your academic obligations. What else? Yeah, so that's it. I think I specified everything. So thank you. I'm done with this presentation. I'm done talking. So now, if some people have, I have personally more time. I'm super happy because I did it in less than 1 hour. So cool. So we have a bit more time to talk about like general ideas. How do you sense? How do you feel about this presentation? Committee members or not, like please feel free to just give your feedback on what you think. By the way, like I'm curious for non-members of the association. Is this what you expected? Were you expecting something different? Is it better than you expected? Worse than you expected? I'd be really happy to learn more about how we are perceived on the outside, like for those who discover us for the first time. You know what, now I'm done with the presentation, so like I'll be really glad to see everyone's face, by the way. I think it's too formal, like I feel I've been giving a talk like a researcher, but actually it was just like to give you an informal perspective of what's going on. But if you can turn on your camera, like I'd be happy to see your faces. Yeah, great, thanks guys, awesome. I see some guys at the EPFL, awesome. So let's, it looks fantastic. I just we don't have much time to participate this semester. So that's a good point. For sure, it's a consideration of time. And so this is why we also like, you can also enter the association without being a board member. And so you can assess the time that you need, right? So FM, maybe you want to comment on that, because I think you are the greatest example of the student that started in his first year, right? Like how much time did it take for you? And maybe specify your role, and overall you can present yourself, of course.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's of course a valid question. It's a question of concern for most people. And me personally, I joined the association in my first semester of bachelor, and I've been in the association for 2 years now. And right now I'm the vice president. And I can say that it's a great opportunity to follow the events of this association, because it really opens you a new perspective. It gives you a new perspective about what you can do in your future for your master, for your PhD or anything else. But like, what are the opportunities? What's going on in EPFL and in other places? So yeah, I found that it was a great opportunity for myself, and from time point of view, it was not a problem for me because like if you just want to follow the talks, it doesn't take that much time. If you want to like commit to the association and just really join the organization, of course it takes more time, but I think it's worth it, and it's not something that you cannot balance with your studies. You can always balance it, and like I have never been asked for doing something that I don't have time for. I was always able to find a balance between my studies and what I do at the association. And yeah, also from as we emphasized quite a lot, you don't need a background, you don't need any prior knowledge to join us. And for myself, in my first year, I was following all of the talks at the association, but some of them were quite advanced. And even if you join the talks that are too advanced for you, like you can understand the first few minutes, then like if you understand the first 5 minutes, it's fine. In the next talk, you will understand the first 10 minutes. And after that, you will understand the first 15 minutes, and it will go like that. So yeah, for myself, it went like this. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Thank you very much, Efe. I think it's very insightful to see how you progress like while attending the talks as well, right? Like it's a margin of progression where you actually get to know from the community to exchange on the novel ideas, right? And so being a first year, of course, like when you just begin with linear algebra, so on top of that, like you are in physics, so linear algebra and analysis usually kill you in the first year. So it's of course really challenging to couple this thing. But I should mention that I think why Efe, if I can tell my feedback on why Efe was so efficient at managing his time, is because he shows a lot of initiatives. So he was not waiting at the last minute until like we need something to be done. He understood very quickly the needs of our association to make things work. So Efe was at the beginning like working in the communication as well, if I remember correctly. So when he started to commit fully on the association, so, you know, it was really about, okay, we have this next event coming, so I know I will have to write an email. And so he did not wait for me or the vice president to tell him, like, we need this email right now. He already started to take upon himself, like, some time, and he would do it around the week. He didn't have like to spend one full night on the email because we are so you know, missing out at the time. It's really like, if you for simple tasks in the case of communication or events, it can take you up to 30 minutes or 1 hour per week if you're good. I mean, like if you're regular and if you understand the objectives, the long line objectives, you can take initiatives that considerably reduce the time you spend working on this logistic stuff. And then you can enjoy all the rest of the time to actually learn the content. And this is why it gets interesting. So of course, first year is always challenging because you have so much to cover. So I think Efe was attending the talks, and indeed, but he could not like really conduct research on his own. But starting from the second year, he could already attend to the research club sessions, and he was like really involved into this. So the margin of progression is super high, because on top of that, it's a real application of what you're learning at the first year. So just for those who don't know, maybe, quantum mechanics for qubit systems, etc., is nothing else than linear algebra on a complex core. Essentially, this is all there is. That's the beginning. So you can apply it in a new paradigm, and you already understand that what you're using in the first year is crucial for your the next stage of study, which is pretty amazing. So thanks a lot for this testimony. So I guess there is another question. The field is really starting to make its way into our daily lives. Do you think that for a bachelor student in life sciences, developing skill in quantum computing will be useful, for example, in the field of neuroscience or molecular biology, especially since lately there is more and more talk about quantum biology? If so, then what level of knowledge in quantum computing would be useful? Is an advanced knowledge still useful, or just basics are more than enough? Okay, so that's a very cool question. And I think it really thank you for thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate it. So I guess it's a very cool question, because quantum biology overall, I guess everything that happens at a certain point is quantum mechanical, right? Like, so the drug synthesis, for example, is really aimed to like leverage quantum mechanics and quantum computers to understand this. So it really depends on how you want to do your career, right? It could be that you could become a quantum software engineer that has a background in life sciences and wants to do quantum stuff for applications. But what about just if you want to understand how quantum is going to impact your world as a biologist and you use classical resources? I guess you could stop to the basics, right? Like you could understand what is the application, what are the promises, the next stage. So you could understand it like in a non-technical way, but in a way that you understand, okay, what is the stage of the technology? How is it likely that in 5 years it will be a revolution or whatever? And understand what are the challenges that prevent you to have something modified in your field. So it's a constantly evolving topic. So new papers are coming in. What I would suggest personally is that you type on Google quantum biology, quantum research, and you register on Google Scholar to some of the researchers that usually publish on this, and then you will see related articles. And as if I said, you won't understand all of the article, but you can already get to the intro and the conclusion. And it already gives you an insight about how the field is evolving at the latest trends, right? So it's also a nice way to learn, by the way, to go to Google Scholars, find some researchers. And if you need any help, of course, the association is there for you. Like you're interested in a specific topic. Let's say you're interested in quantum machine learning, for example, applications in AI of quantum. The association can give you resources and researchers to follow. I'm not on Twitter, but I happen to know that researchers are really keen in quantum to publish their stuff on Twitter. So you could follow them on Twitter as well. It's also a nice platform.
Yeah, on Twitter, I mean, the quantum community is very, very active on Twitter. Like John Preskill, like the IBM people, Microsoft.
There are even great memes that usually get out of it. Like, and sometimes, they are over the random channel on the Slack, because like there are things that's so funny, because the quantum stuff, like just a side note, because I think it's funny. It's like there was a meme where you had a set of papers with a bunch of articles, so showing how quantum can multiply 3 by 5, or basically like how I can do machine learning with just an additional quantum resource to the classical one, like without any advantage. Showing QAOA for the 50th time with another noise model. So it's like really low step-by-step research, but it's funny because it would seem from the outside, okay, like it's not even clear that we will reach quantum advantage, where so far we don't have any proof, right? Like we just know that Google has done this achievement 2 years ago, and then kind of a useless problem in a way. It's a proof of concept, but it's exciting to be in such a field, and knowing that there are so much financial resources that are being given in this field should make us think that this is going to happen one time or another. Hope I answered the question. Yeah, cool.
Sorry, I have a question. I didn't understand how can we commit to the association. You said that we have to register in the website, or we have to email to.
No, so okay. So let me write down the address email. So the first way to manifest your interest in the association is to send an email to quantum@epfl.ch. So I will write it in the chat. And so in this email, what we require, I should have made a slide more specific on it. You know what? I will do that for next time. But what we would like
is note down the point if you want while you're saying them.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, thanks, Aman. So what we want to have in this email is 3 things: why you want to join the association, why you think it's going to bring yourself, of course, what you are doing, like your background. What do you want to what do you want to learn, essentially, or what do you want to leverage, and how do you think you can contribute mostly to the association right now, depending on your availability. So give us an idea of what you think will be your availability. What's your vision also? Do you plan to stay all your studies at EPFL? Introduce yourself kind of, and give us a perspective of how we can integrate you in the effort as I presented in the objectives. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Cool. And by the way, once we receive those individual applications, we will understand like the requirements for everyone better, and then we will assemble teams and propose like established teams at the GA so that we can vote this the thing for the semester. And if your objectives that were set that we will set together are completed, you will be officially becoming board members at the next semester. So that it's kind of a fidelization of everyone. So they, like you have a motivation at the end, and each semester you basically we expect you, of course, to learn more stuff as long as you keep studying in quantum. So each semester you will, of course, be promoted to a new position, and as I said, like in a matter of 1.5 years, you could be president. Other questions, perhaps? Great questions, by the way, so far.
I have another question too. I don't know about a newsletter. You talked about it, I think, 10 minutes ago. What is newsletter?
Okay, so we have a mailing list that you can subscribe. So by Nicola. The mailing list is so this was a project of the communication team, but we have to get more people for this. But the mailing list is to, first of all, announce all the events that we have, that we carry, right? It's to stay tuned with the community. So it can be, you don't have to be any board member for that. Just interested to attend to our events, and you can, we usually have register forms on those emails. And so we don't want to spam the whole EPFL community all semester. So those who are interested to keeping track of activities can follow this mailing list. And then the project that we want to embed is that maybe should we go to the next level and say, let's do a specific newsletter for beginners in quantum computing, where nice resources that we can share. And every month, for example, we could share an email with a bunch of articles or blog posts that could help you progressing in quantum computing. So that would be the idea of the newsletter. So you are not registered yet, right, to the mailing list, or
I think I should be registered because I am a I am a newcomer master student.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you got the general email, I think you got the general.
But I shared the link in the chat. If you just look at the chat, there is the link for the mailing list.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great. So okay, guys, we're not so many remaining. So I'd like to hear more about those who have not spoken yet. Like, if you want to introduce yourself, maybe Alessandro, if you want to start. Bye, Teresa. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, I am a physics student, master physics student, first year, and I'm doing the TP4 with the Professor Savona.
Okay.
On,
wonderful.
Quantum computing. Yeah.
Amazing. Welcome. Where have you done your bachelor previously?
I did my bachelor in Bologna.
In Bologna.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
In Italy. Yeah.
How many are you right now in the labs? How many TP4 students is there in Professor Savona's lab? I was just curious.
2 only.
4. Okay. Two only. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Got it. Gaia, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi. I'm Gaia, and I'm a master in physics student as Alessandro, and I'm doing the TP4 with Professor Carleo, always at the computational quantum lab.
Great.
And yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah.
So you had prior knowledge, or you have already prior knowledge of quantum computation, or you started?
Well, I did my bachelor thesis on quantum computing, but it was just very introductory, you know. Awesome. And then I decided to do the master in this field. So yeah. I find that it's very interesting.
Awesome. And so you're interested on the software applications, on the algorithms topic, or yeah?
Yeah, for the moment, I'm interested more in the computational part, but we will see. So I would be also interested in the hardware, but
yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, yeah. I can talk more about what I'm doing. I think you would be interested. Alessandro, by the way, you're also working on algorithms right now, or another topic?
Yeah. the quantum information part more theoretical. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're taking the Nielsen and Chuang book and yeah,
That's
studying the Bible.
Yeah, the
We all went there. Amazing.
the part of my work.
Great. And what about you, Mohammed? You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am a physics master student, and I am from Iran. I have a TP4 with Professor Mitali.
Okay.
Yes,
Great.
and I don't know. I am interested in programming or hardware. I wanted to try both of them.
For sure. Great deal. I also tested in hardware, and some of them love it, some of them less. but I will tell you about what I do in a second. I think you will like it. Maybe let's give the floor to the members of the association. So Aman, if you want to keep on.
Yep. Hey guys, so I joined the association a couple of years ago when I was still in my second year of the bachelor's. I'm in computer science, and I'm currently the vice president of the association. And yeah, so I learned quantum computing on my own, basically with the help of for example, Arthur, when I would ask him like physics questions because I had like no basis in physics, using online resources and stuff like that. And then I took some courses and did a project with Nicolas Macri. It was a pretty basic project. It was like dissecting a couple of papers and then trying to implement something on IBM Quantum. And yeah, that's basically it. I also actually was a TA for the introductory quantum computing course with the coding school. It maybe it's a collaboration with IBM. So yeah, I have some experience in quantum, but I've in no way that I'm an expert or anything. I just know the basics, I guess. And
let me tell you that his margin of progress is exponential. Like I've never seen anything like it. It's really amazing. Thanks, Aman. Daniele, if you want to keep up.
So hello everyone, I'm Daniele. I'm a physics master student here at the EPFL, and I'm the head of communication for the association. I joined the association more or less a year ago, and it's been a wonderful year. And I really recommend you to join as well, because it's been great. And yes, I think that's it. Not much more than that. I'm currently.
Which lab are you right now?
I'm in the lab of Professor Scarlino. So I'm currently working on quantum hardwares, is hybrid platform for quantum computing. So we are trying to basically merge two promising platforms, which are superconducting qubits and semiconducting qubits. That's
and so you're now a customer of me, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But I have a lot of stuff from quantum machines. So yeah, exactly.
Great. So I will explain why I just said that in a second. Baptiste, if you want to keep on.
Yeah, so I'm Baptiste. I joined the association this year when I heard about quantum simulation, and yeah, I brought the idea to Arthur, and he told me that would be a great topic for the hackathon. Then I started to learn about the topic, which ended with all the programming for the hackathon, which was quite nice. And now I'm doing the TP4 at Professor Scarleo's lab.
Awesome. So, how many are you in Professor Carleo's lab right now?
4.
4. So you guys, you have to bring out the 2 others. Great. Same applies for all TP4 in quantum, right? Like you have to bring them in. If you basically presented yourself for a year, right? Like
mostly.
So I give cool. So okay, like let me complete my presentation with what I've been doing in this company, which is called Quantum Machines. So it's pretty, I think, like it was really hard to convince myself that I had to go to the PhD because I've been doing so amazing stuff. Like I mean, for me, that it's kind of worrying in a way. But so what they do is they are developing a full infrastructure, both hardware and software, for ensuring quantum control. So what it means is that they are developing the hardware which allows to send all the pulse sequences that are needed to control the quantum computers, because as you may know, most of the qubit platforms do require microwave pulses to function. And depending on the tone, the frequency, the amplitude, and the phase of those and of course the envelope of those waveforms, you manage to compute qubit gates. And so the question is how can you leverage the pulse control level to actually increase the performance of algorithms? So this will be, this has been like my latest research topic lately, is how can we enable like the quantum orchestration platform to be kind of a nice leverage between the classical and quantum communication resources, such that we can optimize for variational quantum algorithms. So as you may know, these algorithms are using hybrid classical and quantum resources. And so we have back and forth communication. And usually like you have to relaunch a new circuit every time that you load new parameters. And here we're trying to change a bit the way we understand the level of those parameters, because we usually think about them as circuit parameters. But now what if we could build like some kind of pulse parameters as well? And so we can tune up with some kind of optimal control pulses theory to enhance the performance of the ansatz that we developed for these algorithms. And so basically, I will be holding my thesis, which is going to be public on November 10th at it's going to be 10 a.m. So I can write you the date if you're interested. Send me an email at, so if you're interested to attend the thesis itself, I will most likely do another wrap-up, more introductory for the association. But in the meantime, if you're interested, send me an email to this address, and it's going to be November 10th at 10 a.m. It's going to be on Zoom. The presentation is going to be, no, it's going to be on site, but I don't think like people will be able to attend on site, but it's going to be retransmitted on Zoom. So yeah, if you're interested, I will present basically how the quantum orchestration platform, which is what the company sells and what actually so Daniele uses in his lab, because Pasquale Scarlino just bought a few OPXs. The OPX is the name of the platform, and so for ensuring the control of his qubits, which is pretty fun because like we have a Discord with customers, and so we can interact. Are you on the Discord, by the way, Daniele, or not? No, you didn't put that.
Yeah, I'm in the Discord channel of the lab. I don't know if it's the same, but yeah.
Okay, you have a Discord channel for the lab specifically, not for the QA, the QA thing. Okay.
No,
so, maybe later, we'll see. But yeah, there's a Discord to interact with the customers, and like I'm always on there. It's pretty cool. But yeah, and so so it was pretty cool to see that. Yeah, I applied on the spot, and those guys was like, oh, we really are looking for interns as well. And so I managed to combine both my specialization semester and my master thesis. I've done it both at the company. So the first 6 months, because of COVID, were done remotely, and now I managed to come in Israel for the second semester, which for me started in April, because like I did 6 months and 6 months. So like it's been a year now that I've been in this company, and it's amazing. And by the way, they told me that they are looking for other interns. So guys, if you need any help applying, just reach out. They are based in Israel, but there are lots of people remote working, so it depends on what you want to do. Personally, I find that Tel Aviv is an amazing place, so depending if you want to join, like it's really nice for especially for students, parties. Yeah.
What's the name of the company?
Quantum Machines. So let me give you the website. And actually, you know what? I will make my own advertisements, because why not? I'm giving a talk at the IEEE workshop, which is happening next Tuesday. But actually, it's going to be quite late at night, so I don't know if you'll be able to attend. But you know, at least you have the links. So this I will basically give the session 2 of the link I just sent you. So you have the website, of course, and then the session 2 is going to be essentially the subject of my thesis. So it's kind of a repetition for me, which is pretty cool.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Great. What else? So guys, yeah, I assume like you would all be interested to commit in the association, like more specifically, like here on top of that, like you're all kind of experienced, or you have basic experience already in quantum. So would you be participating in the hackathon?
Yeah, probably yes.
Awesome. Cool. Great. So I think that's it.
Sorry, for participating in hackathon, we just have to fill that form that you send us with email.
Yes. Yes. So for now, we did not put any deadline because we weren't sure if we were going to reach the target of number of people. So we expect to have about 100 people. And by the way, I should tell you that right now we have more than 70 registrations, and they are coming from all over Switzerland, even from France actually. So we have ETH, we have University of Geneva, we have,
and from Italy also. There is like 3 or 4 people from Italy just for the.
That's amazing. That's really cool. So yeah, we will have a bunch of people from everywhere, and we are trying to make also come IBM, some guys from IBM to come over the place to like exchange with the students as well. So it will be a great opportunity to meet people and to just exchange around these topics. And on top of that, to see the exercises that Baptiste and Auriel have been doing, building, which is like for a bunch of students, it's amazing to see. You will see the content. It's really great. It's we even have a polycopier to tell you like the level of the thing. Like great. Okay, guys. I think if you don't no longer have questions, I will stop the recording there.
Yeah, just one last thing. There is a girl who wasn't be able to attend, and he asked me for the recording. So I wanted just to know how can I.
Yes, so you can.
There is a link or something like that.
I think we will put it on our YouTube channel.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
yeah.
I would send her just the link to the YouTube channel.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
And maybe just another thing, I was thinking that we could write an email to the mailing list explaining how to apply for the association. Because I mean, maybe someone just didn't attend today, so they missed the explanation.
That sounds really good. Yeah, it would be great to do that. Yes, that's awesome. And you can because we had 50 registrations on the information session itself. So do we want to maybe we can write to the full mailing list. It doesn't matter. Like that sounds good. Okay. So guys, it was a real pleasure to meet you, and so hopefully see you soon on campus. I'll be coming back to Europe next week actually. So it's my last week in Israel, so I'll try to enjoy it as much as I can, and then coming back in France for a while with my family, and coming back for my thesis in November 10th, and I'll be there for the hackathon as well. So I'm really eager to meet you there, and we'll also meet for the GA, which is which I have to fix the date again, but we'll do that pretty soon. Okay, great. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice evening, and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.